Hey everybody, Laura Diehl here, and I want to share something with you this morning that God spoke to me. And I'm going to start with the scripture. Well, actually, what I want to do is start by just saying what God showed me is something that brings hope and light into our place of darkness. It is not something that negates where you are in this grief process. It does not say you shouldn't be in this darkness, you shouldn't be hurting this much. That has nothing to do with what I'm going to share with you. What I'm sharing with you is to bring hope and a glimmer of light into the place wherever you are in this grieving process of losing your child from this earth. I was reading this morning. I like to read in the New Testament and the Old Testament and the book of Psalms, and so I'm in the book of Mark right now. And the scripture that I read is, right now I want to read from you, it looks like Mark chapter 12, verse 27. And Jesus tells the people, He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. And I highlighted that when I read it because it was just a huge reminder to me that Becca's not dead. She may have left this earth, but when something dies, it means it ceases to exist, right? And our children did not cease to exist. They aren't with us here anymore. It's wrong. It hurts. We can't even put words to how badly it hurts. I've been there. I remember times when I would be sitting there and all of a sudden I'd realize I'm not breathing and I would have to tell myself to take a breath. I've been in that dark, dark, dark place. But I have also, I'm in a place of hope and light where I can share that with others and pray that I can be, bring some of that hope and light that God gave me and pass it on to you. And so with the scripture, God just reminded me, here I am over 5 years into this journey, and He is still reminding me so graciously that this is not the end. Becca is not dead. She did not cease to exist. She just lives somewhere else now. And as I went to go read in the Psalms this morning, I found myself reading something almost very similar in the book of Psalm where I was. And this is from Psalm verse 86. Let me grab my glasses here so I can see what I'm reading. Psalm 86 verse 13 says, "For great is your love toward me. You have delivered me from the depths, from the realm of the dead." And it was like, wow, God, there it is again. You're showing me again that you have delivered us from death. And this verse to me meant not just Becca's death, but my own death. Because when Becca died, I felt like I died. It was like, God, just take me. I don't want to be here anymore. I felt nothing, very numb for so long. And yet in so much pain. Isn't it amazing how we can be numb and in so much pain at the same time? But anyway, this scripture just was a reminder that it doesn't matter where the death is. It doesn't matter the depth of that death. It doesn't matter whether it's a physical death, whether it's a spiritual death, whether it's an emotional death in our souls, that God can reach down to the very depths of whatever that is, and He can bring us life again. And just that reminder that, Becca is very alive right now. In fact, she's more full of life than I am. And yes, it hurts. And like I said, it does not negate where any of us are in this grieving process, but it does give us that light of hope. This is not the end. And as I continued on with my time with him this morning, we are part of a church that does this journey series, and it's very intense, and it's for lack of time for explaining it, the way it ends is the last study is you study all about yourself, who God made you, how He put you together, body, soul, and spirit, and you put all that together, and you really write out and you discover who God created you to be as a unique individual. What did He put in you? What has He called you to? What verse speaks to you? about your life and what does your name mean, all those kinds of things. And there's actually a graduation ceremony, and we share that with everybody, the package, what we've discovered that God has called us to do and who he called us to be. And we actually have a ring. See this gold band here? That's my ring, because what we do is we make a commitment to God about all these things that we discovered, and that we commit ourselves to the best that we can to walking out the fullness of who that is. And so this green band, I actually I wrote these index cards about these things about myself, so that I could have them in front of me and remind myself often. And so I pulled out my card about my ring, and this is what I wrote about this ring that I used to make my commitment to walk with the Lord and walk out the fullness of who he called me to be. It says, "This will be worn under my crown ring as a symbol of the emerald rainbow around the throne in heaven. Becca is there to see it, and she is waiting for me." And once again, it was like the third time where God said, death is not the end. Death does not mean your child ceased to exist. And that is just so incredible to me that God, here I am 5 years into this, and yet God would assure me over and over and over again. And one of the scriptures that I wrote to go along with this, with my ring, is Philippians 3, and it says, "I do not regard myself," whoops, wrong one, let me flip my card over, 2 Corinthians 4:18, "We fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." And it's like, once again, Lord, thank you, thank you, thank you, that what we see here on this earth is only temporary, and what we cannot see is what is permanent. This is not permanent. This is not our home. This is not the end. And we have children that are waiting for us when it's our time to transfer to our eternal home. So I hope that is an encouraging word to you, like it was to me this morning. Father, just anoint this word and let it touch the hearts of whoever is watching this, and Lord, may it truly bring hope and light into the darkness. If you want to connect with us, you can find us on the website, www.gpshope.org. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you'll get a notice whenever there's a video that I put out. I try to do it every Friday, Saturday, somewhere in there, once a week. And we also have a Facebook page, so look us up, facebook.com/GPSHope. And with that, I always end with a word of hope, and here it is today. I lit my candle of hope. So remember, we are here to be a light of hope in your place of darkness.